Now, I know everybody out there on Facebook Live land is a little confused right now because you're like, wait a minute, did I miss work? Is it Monday? Just for this week, we are on Sunday night because, and we'll reveal it, it's actually something very special that Alex is doing for a family member. And we'll discuss everything because we're an open book. It's the Mike Sasson Show live on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, where, of course, you're going to get the best local music. You're going to get the best local talk. It's incredible. Just listen to it. Quit your job. Just sit there and stare into your computer. Stare onto your, because there's so many different ways you can listen. You can go on. You can listen to it live on TuneIn Radio. You can go on to www.riversedgepgh.com, or if you just want to listen to the Mike Sasson Show, you can go on to SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes. So many different ways that you can listen, that you can watch on Facebook Live, on YouTube. It's an incredible show. We're very proud of it, and especially this weekend. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Most of the shows, me and Alex mail them in. We just sit there and we go, whatever, here's another week of crap. But this week, we actually put forth some effort. And so this week, it's just an insane show. It's incredible. We're going to be looking at the wisdom that is Jose Canseco's Twitter feed. If you haven't been following it, apparently he's figured out how to live 30 years longer.
Oh, damn.
So we'll go over that. A new picture of Antonio Brown came out, which Steelers wide receiver extraordinaire. He just is actively looking to make sure that the Steelers could get nothing for him in a trade.
He looks great.
We'll
I'm
discuss.
all for it.
Yeah, we'll discuss. Also, we're going to be discussing bar thoughts and experiences, my hot takes. Also, I'm going to be talking about some new stuff. You know how much of a jerk you have to be for me to take Jeff Bezos' side in a story.
Ooh.
Also, people need to stop bothering Brooklyn Decker. And I will show you a picture that proves that everyone should just become a stripper. That's the new thing. Everyone should just quit their jobs and just shake their ass for the money. That's my new thing.
I have such a great story to go along with that.
All right, there you go. Anyways, again, this is the Mike Sasson Show. The reason, again, we're broadcasting on Facebook Live on Sunday is because Monday, your cousin has his senior day in hockey, right?
Yeah, it's his senior rec, so it's like his second to last hockey game that he is ever playing. And I've actually never been to one of his hockey games, but apparently they have beer there now, so that sounds great.
Who does he play for?
Baldwin.
Okay, he's a Fighting Highlander?
I guess that's their hockey team too, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about hockey in Western Pennsylvania is that, like, all the high schools have teams, but they're not associated with the high schools.
Yeah.
Like, Fox Chapel as a team, but it's not like they're not in the WPIL, they're in their own thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I've talked to hockey players. Some of them would sit there and say they'd love to be in it, but other people say, no, it really doesn't matter. The reason why is because the schools really don't want to do it because if they were to sponsor it, that means that they would have to provide gear, they would have to provide insurance, all that other kind of
good stuff.
That's
a shit ton of money for hockey. Well,
that's the thing. I make fun. I have fun with hockey players. I love hockey, but I always had fun with hockey players because of the fact that it is a rich kid sport. I mean, it's not a sport that you could just decide on a Tuesday, like, oh, I'm going to go out for the team. Right. No, if you're going to go out for the hockey team, you're spending like what, close to a G in gear, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but congratulations there.
He's going to be great. Actually, I'm very scared, though.
Why?
Because I've never gone to a game. I'm a little bit afraid that if they lose, they'll blame it on me.
Are they undefeated currently?
No.
Well, then they could be losing anyway.
My parents are get afraid of that, too, because there was a couple games where every time they went, they lost. So they were afraid to go back, but they didn't want to, they want to support him, but they also don't want him to blame them for being, for not winning. But we'll see. I'm excited that there's beer. I'm not excited that I have to sit in the cold. Also, maybe I'll see some of the cute hockey fellas from high school that I went to high school with.
I hope they're not still there. I mean,
what if they have a younger cousin that's playing hockey like me?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's probably some...
And then we reconnect.
I know there's some hot dudes probably there, but I'm not saying that they're hockey dudes. There'll be new hockey dudes.
Maybe, yeah. Well, that would be little people.
No, I mean, there could be just, like, people in general. Right. I don't know, just hockey. You should go, where does Baldwin play?
Ice Castle.
Okay.
In Castle Shannon.
All right, because, If they were at like the big facility up in Cranberry, then you'd run into like penguins, which are grown
Yeah.
men.
No. I'm just trying to run into people from high school. My main mission is to like everyone that I knew in high school be like, "Hey, look at how much better looking I am now," you know?
I mean, okay. We've shown pictures of you in high school. You were an attractive high school
No, I
student.
wasn't saying that I wasn't. I was saying that I'm better looking now. It's just fact that I got older
Uh-huh.
and less awkward.
Okay.
So
You felt
it's
you were
a
awkward
fact.
even as a senior. You felt you were awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're just.
I mean, I still feel awkward every day, but
Uh-huh.
now I think I'm more confident in my awkwardness.
I would be on. I'm in my physical appearance. I believe that I am better looking now than I was in high school or even college. But I would say the number one reason isn't necessarily anything physical. It's just a confidence at this point.
Yeah.
So really, if I just would have injected confidence into 17 or 18-year-old Mike, then I think things would have been a lot better for
That's
him.
what every high school kid needs. That's what I think about all the time. Like, if I could go back to high school, I'd just be like, just be confident in who you are, because it's who you're going to be for the rest of your life.
Every time I think about high school and who I was, or college and who I was, I really do. I really wish that there was like I had a lot of coaches, but I don't think I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anybody that like took any like special interest.
Don't you wish that future self you could have been your high school you mentor?
But here's the problem, and then and this is like a deep like Sasson, because I have 3 younger brothers.
Yeah.
And I tried to be that for them.
Oh.
And then they bitch because they're like, oh, now it's too much pressure because I'm at every game and I'm all that kind of good stuff. So it's one of those things of like, they look at the fact that no one really had any expectations for me because I was the first one as like a freeing thing. Like, hey, Dad didn't know anything and no one knew anything. And so when you went to play college football, how great was that? Everybody was shocked. Whereas everyone subsequently, it was expected that they were supposed to go. And my point was, but yeah, if I had a older brother, then he would have said, hey, this is how you lift weights, and this is what you should eat, and this is how you should act, and this is where you should go.
And you could have maybe been even better.
Yeah, but then, it's...
But now you're a, thriving comedian with his own podcast.
Yeah, with his own podcast.
Who don't need no football.
Yeah, don't even need football. That's one of the reasons why, like, I love college football, and I haven't been back to go see a game live since, like, it's going now on like 14 years.
Whoa.
The reason why is I got shit to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that I went to college with, like they live close by, and they identify themselves so much with that football program.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just like, yeah, I'm in Monessen this week. I gotta do comedy. I gotta entertain the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of Monessen, they were an interesting crowd.
Oh, I bet. Haven't you been there before?
What I'm learning is like every other city, there's like outside the town. Like I've been to Uniontown before, but like I was in downtown Uniontown the first time a couple weeks ago. I've been in and around Monessen where the address said Monessen, but this was when I was in Monessen. And the thing that's really when I'm learning that I mean obviously I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, but like even someone who grew up, when you see one of those old school steel mill towns and you're there and you're like literally outside of the venue I played, there was a factory with a giant flame shooting out of the top of it.
I love those.
It could be like, holy crap, this is scary. Like that, but to them they're just like, yeah, that's the blah 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 factory.
It's insane. Like I've seen so many of those before, and just like if you compare it to a building that's like next to it, just this flame, it's insane. It's so cool. I think it's the coolest thing ever, but also extremely scary.
Yes, and also all the smoke and stuff like that. So I was kind of a little hesitant to like take a deep breath because I was just like, yeah, that's why everybody here has like tuberculosis.
You just did your whole set with like this high pitched voice because you couldn't breathe.
Well, what I did, actually what happened was I did my set, I did well. They were a little tight. I got them to loosen up a little, and then Ray Zawatney, the great Ray Zawatney, backed me up, and he was just having fun with them because they were a very, very older Western Pennsylvania crowd. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
They were very conservative, and that can be fun when you kind of mess with them.
Yeah.
Because they just had this look on their face. Like, they'd laugh, and they'd kind of give you like, oh, you got me there. but they're just so grizzled Western Pennsylvania steel mill kind of people that they're just like, oh, what's funny about anything? My brother died in Vietnam. That kind of shit. Anyway, speaking of Vietnam, I don't know. Jose Canseco has nothing to do with Vietnam.
Can you tell me who that is?
He was a baseball player back in the 80s and 90s, and he pretty much started the whole steroid thing.
He's scary looking.
Yeah, he thinks he looks great, but he is...
His eyes aren't real, right?
No, those are real eyes.
His eyes can't be that blue.
I don't know.
No, he's wearing fake contacts.
I don't know what's going on.
I used to have fake contacts, so I can spot them a mile away.
Okay. But I will say this. He was the first baseball player of, like, the modern era to be, like, he looked like an NFL linebacker.
Yeah.
And he was the first, his big thing was 40-40, which was 40 home runs and 40 steals. So you think about it, if a guy hits 40 home runs, means he's a big guy.
Right.
But if a guy steals 40 bases, it means he's a fast guy. Well, he was the first guy who got 40-40. And I actually think he got 50-50. I don't know. It was weird. I was young at the time. Anyway, so, but eventually he got pinched for steroids. He was like the guy who, like, blew the doors off the whole thing, and he kind of tattled on, like, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and all that other kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
But a comedian friend of mine, Andy Picaro, started retweeting a couple of his tweets.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I knew he was nuts, but this is really A-level crazy. Like, I love it. I mean, God bless him for him to do this. It all started with he had a tweet that said, where is the tweet? It says, I have figured out a way to live an extra 30 years.
Yeah.
Now, let's break this down. Let's, like back in English class, you'd break down a sentence. Let's break down this sentence. Not I've read, not a doctor told me.
No.
I,
personally,
myself, an ex-baseball player who did more steroids to make my testicles into peanuts, have figured out a way to live an extra 30 years. And here are the well, first off, so here are his ways to live an extra 30 years. One of many ways to live an extra 30 years is that you have to sleep in almost freezing temperatures.
To, like, preserve your body?
I guess.
Like a vampire.
Apparently.
I don't know how
apparently,
vampires sleep.
you have to, according to Jose Canseco, you have to sleep in near freezing temperatures. Next one,
that seems
another way to live 30 years longer is we are taking in way too much food. We've got to cut your food intake in half.
I guess it depends on how much food you really eat.
But I mean,
maybe like a quarter, like take just a little bit off.
I mean,
I
that's
feel
the
like,
whole.
Yeah, everyone eats too much, but
that's like the whole intermediate fasting thing. Like everyone says, it's like cell regeneration and all that other kind of good stuff. I don't think that's real. I don't know. I don't know. It sounds whatever. Another way to live 30 years longer is if it says another way to live 30 years longer if you must have sex at least 3 times a week.
Definitely, he figured out that one.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah, he could go for 4, but he went no, at least 3.
3 seems reasonable.
Now,
I think.
Someone actually said a way to make sure you avoid prostate cancer in the future is if you expound regularly. So all I know is there's no way I'm getting.
Says that?
I don't know.
What was your phrasing?
Expound.
You
expound
regularly?
Yep.
Oh God.
Yeah. How would you have said it?
Expound. I don't know. Anything else besides that, maybe?
You gotta come 3 times a week.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, okay. I guess. Well,
Sorry.
Expound could be expound. Is that even a word?
No.
Okay.
I figure words out all by myself. But here are some other.
You have a whole list, a whole book of this.
Oh no! Well, now here are other ones from his Twitter feed, which I love. He says, "Cloning is illegal. That's why we cannot evolve into our next stage."
Yeah, I saw those ones. I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, once cloning is legal, we'll be able to purchase either bodies of ourselves in our prime, and once our shells get too old, detach the brain and then apply the new shell of the body. Which he didn't says of, he goes O2 of the body.
Does it? Yeah. Okay.
Theoretically, I bet you if you ask some scientist, he'd be like, yeah, kind of, you can do that.
Yeah.
Like in like 50 years or
That's
something.
like a movie, or that's a show or something right now. That's all.
That was this movie called Free Jack, in which Emilio Estevez gets taken. He was a race car driver, and he died on camera. So they knew when he died, and so they took him from the past into the future, and they were going to give him to a rich person and make the rich person live through him, and then he fights off the future. It's a terrible film.
Weird.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good concept, I feel.
Yeah, it was not executed well.
Yeah.
Shucks. Here's some more.
Are colored contacts in one of these tweets?
Hopefully.
Because he definitely has them, unless his eyes have somehow changed colors. Maybe steroids make your eyes change colors.
Maybe. I don't know. They definitely make your testicles smaller.
Figured it out.
What if you did that? What if you like got with some dude? You're like, wow, this guy's jacked as all hell, and then you pull out the package and there's nothing there. You'd be like, dude, steroids was like, it's almost like the push-up bra of dudes.
Yeah, I'm really not into super jacked dudes, especially super jacked dudes that look like they could maybe be on steroids. Just because I feel like even if you aren't on steroids, it might still be affecting your junk, you know?
Like just being
too much muscle, it gets in the way.
Of what?
Of their junk.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Who knows? Here's another one. We could have called him. It says, spend the day with Jose. Come out with me and ask questions. Pick my brain and see what I'm really about. Contact Morgan, and then gives a phone number.
Morgan.
Yeah. I don't know who Morgan
That's
is.
Cute.
Yeah, Morgan's
Let's
a good,
do that.
Yeah, Morgan's a guy.
Let's pretend we're famous and have people
Our
hang out with us.
science is totally irrelevant to aliens.
What?
That's another Jose Canseco tweet.
What does that mean?
Basically, like, to aliens, our science is just, like, pointless.
Can I show you this really great see-through button-down shirt he's wearing in a photo?
Yeah, of course you can.
Sexy. Oh, girl.
By the way, he's, like, in his 50s, so, like, he...
That's not a recent photo, but he looks pretty old. He looks old now, but... it's like this black see-through button-down shirt, and he's wearing just jeans under it, and he's all tan and oiled up.
Yep. Time travel puts 42,651 pounds of pressure on a human skeletal structure. Can you detach the brain from the body and equalize the pressure? It could be done. These are Jose Canseco tweets.
Is this because he has nothing to do now?
I don't know. I mean, we could call him up and golf him. We know Morgan's number.
Yeah.
Aliens have been trying to teach us how to time travel, but first we have to change our body composition, which we are not willing to do. We have tried with animals, and it has failed. These aliens are going to teach us how to try and travel. The brain can physically travel without the body. We are in communication with aliens with a very flexible body composition called A151. Yeah, so these just keep going on, and then just gets on Cox Communications. Cox Communication is lousy, especially their Wi-Fi selection. The truth hurts.
What?
Yeah, then he goes into like aliens to making fun of the fact that his Wi-Fi sucks.
So what I want to know is, first of all, if Morgan is his like assistant, just like how shitty her job is, having to.
How do you know it's a female? There's women named Morgan.
You mean there's men named Morgan?
I don't know. Morgan Spurlock, that's that guy that we
hate.
hate.
There's definitely, okay, so it could be a man. How shitty their job is just to have to listen to these things.
Okay, let's say
And imagine how many phone calls Morgan got that day.
4. And 3 of them were from shows like us goofing on him.
Yeah.
No one wants to hang out with Jose.
Let's do it.
Let's not. Let me ask you a question.
What?
Morgan or Jose Canseco?
What do you mean?
Like, if we get him on the show, who would we rather have, Morgan or Jose Canseco?
Ooh, Morgan.
I think Morgan would be
For
more
sure.
interesting. Jose Canseco would just start rattling on about all his statistics.
Right, we need
and
to
stuff.
know the real shit.
Yeah, we don't care about how many home runs you hit.
We need to know what he's doing.
All right, let me ask you a stupid question. Not a stupid question, a very profound question.
Okay.
That just changed my mind. Would you be a personal assistant to a celebrity?
Yeah. I've always wanted to be a personal assistant. I would be great at that job, I think.
You forget stuff, though. You got to remember a lot of shit if you're a personal assistant.
I'm good at remembering other people's things. And I also, like, I write everything down because I know I'm terrible at remembering things. And if I had to schedule, I can't schedule my own things, but if I had to schedule other people's things and then talk to people for them.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Would you rather be a personal assistant to a man or a woman?
Man,
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe we could go golfing some days.
Okay. You could be Morgan.
It could be Morgan.
There you go. Would you rather be with someone like in the prime heat of their career?
Oh.
Or would you rather be someone who's kind of still making decent money, but kind of everything's cooled off a little?
The second option for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to have some time to like chill with them, you know?
Well, let me ask you,
We're really becoming friends.
Well, let me ask you this question then. What happens, like you've seen the movie, the TV show Entourage.
Yeah.
Which Entourage person would you rather be? Would you rather be E, who's like the best friend but gets into the business and everything like that? Would you rather be Turtle, who seems to have a pretty good life? He just drives them around and he never really gets into anything. Or would you rather be the brother who just kind of just hangs out and does nothing pretty much?
I think I'd like to be the driver one.
Yeah, because I think
Because
E's
you
too
still
much
feel
pressure.
like you have a purpose.
Yeah.
You're still doing something that helps out the crew, you know?
Uh-huh.
But it's not a lot of pressure on you, to be like really great.
Uh-huh.
And no one's really paying attention to
If you were the personal assistant, would you want to like get into the business or be like, no, I'm cool with the personal assistant stuff?
I think I'd be cool with the personal assistant stuff. I guess it would have to depend on what they did as their business, you know? If someone like
movie star
was like, oh my God, your personal assistant is beautiful. Like, they need to model for me. I'd be like, okay. You know? Okay.
Okay. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to other people that are a little bit weird out.
Crazy?
This just came. This picture just came across on Facebook. It's Antonio Brown,
Oh.
Steelers wide receiver.
Yeah, that fine fella.
He's out in Los Angeles. He's training, and I follow him on Instagram. And all his Instagram really is just like him going to stuff, what he eats, and him training.
Do you eat the same things that he does?
He has a personal chef, so everything that he eats is incredible.
Oh, damn.
Like, he eats pancakes. Like, I eat pancakes, but his pancakes have, like, fresh everything on it and a certain type of syrup that, like, you get from, like, Norway and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh.
Like, that kind of
Sorry, Mike.
I know. I can't do that. It's the only thing keeping me from being the best wide receiver in the world.
Yeah.
But are you currently showing his current picture?
I am now.
Describe to the people listening what he looks like right now.
Well, he's got a super cool chain on, very thick chain.
But he just recently spent $500,000 on new jewelry. So that's one
That is
piece
definitely
of
part of it. It could be, honestly, $250,000 right there on his neck.
Yeah.
He also has these round sunglasses with words on them. They're interesting. They look almost like clocks, maybe?
I don't know. What if his glasses told time?
That'd be sweet.
That would be sweet.
They look like some just shit designer glasses. I don't mean shit. I mean shit in my opinion.
Yeah, but they're probably maybe what, $5-10 grand?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He has a blonde mustache now.
Yeah, I think that's the most interesting part of it all, I think.
What about
it's not completely, you need to know that it's not completely blonde facial hair. He has his normal facial hair in his beard, but his mustache is blonde. And then he has these crazy like
Coolio. He looks like Coolio.
Coolio, yeah. Or the Slim Jim guy.
Yeah.
That's what it also reminds me of. Crazy hair, and he got some blue in his hair. It's his look now. He's
let me ask you a question.
Trying to do some things.
You remember what Antonio Brown looked like for 9 years?
Sure.
Okay. He now looks like that. If you were a friend of his, would you be worried?
Honestly, no. I mean, I think that that's what, like, with this whole situation, I think with people who get to be in his position and get to be like, you know, like there's constantly people looking at you and stuff and you constantly have to like perform and stuff. I feel like eventually you're going to go through some type of shitty phase, you know, where just you go a little bit crazy for a while, but then, you know, hopefully you go either way. You go either something snaps you back in and then you're good, or you go off the deep end and you're done.
See, I think you bring up an interesting point that anyone, like I was watching this video of Jennifer Lawrence was interviewing Adam Sandler.
Oh.
And they were talking about how they deal with people who come up to him on the street.
Yeah.
And Adam Sandler was like, yeah, I get a lot of people come up to me and want to take pictures and stuff like that. And Jennifer Lawrence sat there and said, yeah, I'm very good friends with Amy Schumer. And she goes, comedians get it a ton because comedians are always on stage by themselves and they're always talking to the audience. So the audience sometimes gets this perception
Right.
that they're friends.
Yes.
And you've seen it even with me that like I'll be off stage and someone who I've never met before will come up to me and be very kind of like, hey, like, hey, Mike, my mom is, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh, hi, I don't know who you are.
See, it was interesting because you got the opposite perception with me.
Mm-hmm.
You were on stage talking to the audience and you thought that we were friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, me and Alex are friends, and it turns out, no, we weren't.
No. I just have to look at the stage.
Yeah. But, yeah, you were just waiting for someone else better looking to show up. But then she talked about how when she goes on out there, she knows for a fact, but it's her only defense mechanism to deal with people, is she says she acts very rude to people.
Oh.
Like, she knows she does. Like, she will walk up to people and someone will go, hey, can I have your autograph? She goes, no, it's my off day. And she'll walk away from them.
Yeah.
Or someone will be going up to the table when they're eating and she'll just even give them a little, like, shake of the finger, like, no, or something like that. And she knows that from the outside it looks like she's being just a real awful human being.
Right,
but in reality, she's sitting there going, I have to do this in order for people, or people will just inundate me. And maybe that is the theory that it comes down, is that he's under such intense scrutiny right now. The only way that he can kind of deal with that right now is just completely
being insane.
Be insane. Just, okay, I'm just going to look weird. I'm just going to completely change my look. I'm going to completely spend a ton of money, all this kind of stuff. And now with the issue with his daughter and the wife and everything like that. I don't know. I just saw this picture and the caption was, this is the definition of money changing a person.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wants to just get rid of all of it. Maybe he's just trying to show an example to everyone,
Which is what?
Sometimes money can ruin you. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
I don't know. That's what that was. That was
and
Antonio
this is what,
Brown speaking.
Yeah, this is what, what happens when you get a lot of money.
I hope I don't get to that point when I get money. Could you imagine me with blonde right here and just weird hair and stuff?
I think we should do it now, honestly.
Fake it before you make it type deal?
Yep.
It's an idea.
Oh, my God. Mike has been dealing with the paparazzi so much. He had to change his image.
Mm-hmm.
I really think he's going off the deep end. I don't know.
He showed up to Scarpazi's wearing nothing but a jockstrap, knee braces, a sailor hat, and he shaved in number 1 into his chest hair.
That was, super specific.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Or did you just come up with that? Because that's weird. Have you been thinking about this for a while?
There's a story behind it.
Okay.
So, when I played college,
yeah,
we had there was different dresses that you would have. Like, you would either be in full pads,
right,
or what they'd call shells, which means shoulder pads, shorts, helmet, or just helmets, or just shorts.
Okay.
And so on the board, there would be what our dress was for that day. And so after one practice, our coach has us all around there, and one of the players sits there and goes, all right, Coach, what are we dressing for the second practice? And he sits there and goes, it's up to Pat over here. And Pat goes, jock straps, knee braces, sailor hat. And everybody just laughed because we were just like, could you imagine an entire football team? All we were wearing out there were jock straps,
right,
knee braces, and sailor hats. So for the rest of my adult life, anytime where I think of the weirdest thing I could possibly wear, it would be jockstrap, knee braces, and a sailor hat.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact of that being so specific and so quickly.
Yeah.
I think is really the catch there.
Yeah.
I like it. You can do it.
I think I could pull it off. Another thing that we could pull off is a break right now. Okay. And when we come back, it'll be Alex's bar thoughts and experiences. And then I will talk about hot takes. And then we will go through the videos of 80s soft rock gods Air Supply. Now, I know you're sitting there going, oh, that has to be boring. I had never seen these videos before until today. They are insane. These guys were some perverted people. Anyways, it is the Mike Sasson Show. You're listening to it on the River's Edge, or you're watching to us on Facebook Live. Keep listening to the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We'll be right back.
The oaks have grown so high, the houses are so quiet. Is there anyone inside?
And we are back. You are listening to The River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, where you get the best local music, you get the best local talk. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show. My name's Mike. That's Alex over there. Now, Alex, I brought up strippers or something for some reason. You said you had a story based off that?
Yeah.
Is that part of your bar thoughts?
No.
Okay. What is your story then?
Today I had a woman come into work, and she paid me in all ones, and she's like, "I'm sorry, like I get tipped in ones, like I'm a waitress." And it's like, okay, like that's fine, like, but we don't care about getting change. That's fine. It's easier for us. And she gave me them, and they smelled so bad. But, like, I can't explain the smell to you completely, and everyone thought I was crazy. It kind of smelled like a really fake cherry scent. And it was pretty gross. And I was literally counting the money. I was like, I cannot smell this. But I want to say that maybe she was a waitress at a strip club.
Waitress at a strip club.
And those dollars have been they've been around.
They've been in some places.
Yep.
That's one thing about physical dollar bills. The money that's in your pocket has been some places.
Especially that money.
Yeah. So
now I'm like, do I really want to give this to people?
Who knows?
Oh, it makes me nauseous just thinking about the smell.
For years, when I was a little kid, you'd hear people talk about laundering money.
Yeah.
I assumed it meant like physically cleaning the money.
That's funny and cute, yeah.
But
should we do that? Should we offer that as a service?
Just cleaning money?
Yeah.
I think at a strip club you could.
Yeah.
Like I've thought about the fact that if there was a laundromat and a changing room, because the big thing that husbands always have a problem with is if there's a woman at home and they go back and they have that kind of that stripper smell to them, and the wife is like, "Where have you been?" And like if there was like a laundromat there to where you could bring a second set of clothes or something like that, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
I agree.
Well, we'll talk more about strippers later.
There should be dry cleaning in strip clubs.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
There you go. Anyway, so we'll be talking about that. Also, we're going to be talking about the fact that my co-host and producer, Alex Clemens, loves to get her drink on, and then she talks about it. It's called Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex. Alex, play your theme song. That's not the theme song.
Oh, my God. It's not me, I swear. I know what song is mine.
It's the pizza song.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope anyway, that just slice it.
Oh, by the way, have you seen
Can you not interrupt my intro song?
Oh.
Thank you. What?
Okay. Have you seen the new ad for pizza for Domino's where you're supposed to take a picture of any pizza on the app?
What?
All right, so the head of Domino's sits there and goes, "We love all pizza, so here's our deal. We'll give you 10 points on Domino's pizza app points," or whatever the hell that crap is, "if you just take a picture of any pizza you're eating. Doesn't even have to be ours." And I'm sitting there going, what's your angle? Like, what are you figuring out? It's like that whole, like, that 10-year thing that was a couple months ago, and they maybe figured out that was Facebook trying to figure.
Yeah.
Could you think that maybe Domino's is trying to come up with new ideas for pizzas, and they're like, hey, take pictures, and then they have people analyzing the pizza, and they're like, ooh, we could do that with our pizza and make it better.
Or maybe it's just blackmail to people who eat really shitty pizza.
And so they'll have a picture of it and go, wow, that was crappy. Here's 5 points. You could have gotten good pizza at Domino's.
Can't believe you eat this shit.
Yeah. It's like seriously, would you, how about if you're become the spokesman for Domino's and that's all you do is just call up people on the app?
Yeah.
And you're just like, there'll be a big message from Alex. And people goes, what are you eating this shit for?
Yeah.
Nothing. Get some good pizza.
Yep.
I'm calling Domino's for you.
That would be good. That would be a helpful thing.
And since I'm in your phone, I already have all your information and I just charge it to your card.
Yep.
Plus, I just bought a pizza for me.
Do you want to be friends?
By the way, I have an idea for Tinder plus Grubhub to where you know if someone in your area is either ready to date and or has just ordered food.
Oh, I thought you were trying to get some good-looking delivery drivers.
No.
Because I could go for that, too.
There you go.
You know?
Speaking of that, bar thoughts and experiences.
Speaking of delivery drivers, so I was thinking recently, well, my first thought that came into my brain, I don't know, while I was driving the other day, and I'm not sure why it was while I was driving, was the voices that are in anime porn. Like all of the, them like talking and or any kind of cartoon porn,
Okay.
I guess.
Describe. Yeah, anime porn is essentially like Japanese cartoony porn.
Exactly. And so there's people
Do you
who
watch a lot of anime porn?
No.
Okay.
But there's people who do like the voices and stuff of it, as there is any cartoon. I was like, I wonder those people where they're at in their life and if people ever recognize their voice from that porn. And then it got me thinking about all of the sounds that are in porn. And I found out that there's actually there's people who do all of the sound effects for porn.
Not as much as they used to.
Yeah.
Like
it was definitely huge in the 80s and stuff.
Yeah, back when porn was more, it was on film, and you'd have to go to a theater, or there was more money into it.
Right.
Yeah, there was more production into it. Now everyone just takes like a freaking phone and just starts shooting, screwing.
Right. And I think that there's I was watching a lot of videos about it today, which I hope no one ever looks through my laptop history. It's just weird shit all the time, mostly for this show too. Just me looking up, porn sounds. There's actually a ton of websites. Whenever I need free music for the show or something like that, I'll go on this free music archive website. They have that for porn sounds, which I think is very interesting. I don't know if people are actually using those, or maybe just people like to listen to that.
Here's my thing though about that. That's like, for instance, whenever you hear laugh tracks on sitcoms. A lot of those laugh tracks are from audiences they recorded in the 50s.
Yeah.
So most of the that's the old thing, is you're listening to dead people laugh. Most of the people that are laughing at even modern sitcoms are dead.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy. So you could listen to some dead people make some orgasm noises.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it was back in the 70s or something like that, then now all of a sudden, they've been passed away and all that kind of stuff.
I'm kind of wondering, I think it'd be fun if you were making a porn to have, a keyboard with all the sound effects, and you just press the keyboard, while you're going through the porn. That's someone's job.
Yeah. You know what used to be a big thing was soundboards.
Yeah. Why don't we have those?
Yeah, those used to be real fun. You'd call someone, and then you would have a voice of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you'd have a voice of Sylvester Stallone and all that kind of stuff. But that's not as big as it used to be. And I also think with porn and everything like that, the sound effects are pretty much. It's just really just. It's interesting. The porn industry is very similar now to the music industry in that. Back in the day, and I talked to a guy who was not in porn and music, but he used to sit there and say, I wish I was talking to a guy in porn. It's awesome. Back in the 70s and 80s, they would always talk about I saw Led Zeppelin for $10.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why is because the way they viewed it was them coming to, let's just say, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd make a little bit of money, but the real money was they'd promote it. They would promote their album, and then they'd notice that when they'd show up, everyone would leave the concert and go buy the album, and the album was where they would make most of their money.
Right.
So really, as long as they didn't lose money on the actual touring, they were fine because they would be making so much money off the records.
Right.
It's the same reason with porn as it used to be that if a girl or a guy, or mostly girls, were in porn. Yeah, they would do a little stripping on the side, or they'd come and do feature dancing, but really they would get paid to be in the actual film.
Yeah.
Now they have to go out 40 weeks a year and go perform in these towns because you really don't make much money in the actual film anymore. It's just kind of what you do is kind of the coming attractions to get your fan, and then you show up to the the cheerleaders, the blush, whatever, to go see them live. The same as right now, which is why it's flipped now. If you really want, most bands that make money right now, Metallica tickets are $150 to $200.
Yeah.
Where it used to be, because they don't make any money anymore selling any CDs anymore. So that's why it's kind of flipped.
Yeah. I did see a very recent video of a couple people doing this as a job. One of them, I was like, I really can't tell if this is real or not. This dude was really fucking weird, but I was like, you probably got to be really weird for that to be your job. And they were both like, this is my passion. This is what I was born to do.
In certain jobs that I've had in previous lives, I have interviewed adult film stars. Like I've been on the radio and other places, and I
Right.
actually interviewed them. They are. It's like someone just eliminated any morality out of them.
But it's not
It's
even.
really. They're in a weird world where just like I remember I was with this porno star, and I was interviewing. And she had like a couple people that she toured with, and the way they talked to her would just be like even me, and I'm yeah, obviously one of the least offended persons in the world. I wasn't offended, but I was just like, damn, you're really getting down and dirty with these with what you're saying with them, and it really is just kind of this attitude of just like, you know, if you're in that world, there is nothing kind of weird. You're just in that world, and
Yeah.
so that's even if you cater these places, if you work, you know, the lighting and stuff like that. Once you're in that world, these weird things just become so normal, kind of deal.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I feel like there's also a lot of wasted meat that is used to do this. They use a lot of meat to make the sound effects.
Okay.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
that
Meat
seems
slapping
right.
together kind of sounds like flesh slapping together.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't know if they're eating it or not afterwards, but I feel like they're wasting a lot of meat, and it kind of makes me sad. Or maybe that's what they use on set. That's like lunch afterwards.
But here's the thing that I would sit there and say is, can you just do normal, just do it once and then just plug it into each of the film, or do you have to sync it with the individual films?
You probably have to sync it with each individual films. I don't think everyone's vagina is going to sound the same.
But it could, like, that's
I mean,
one of
it
the things.
could.
It could, especially if you're just kind of just going, okay, this is what it's.
But
this
if
is
you
what
want
this-
to make it good, Mike.
But again, that's when it gets into the budget. Like, I bet you there is some, like, James Cameron or some guy who's sitting there going, like, hey, I am making, School Days Boners too.
Yeah.
I want to make this my masterpiece. And they're like, no, you have a budget of $3,500. That's
Yeah.
it. And he goes, no, I can't do it for any less than $5,000. And like, no, you're going to get the same sound effects that gets for every other film, and then he just storms off the set and all that other kind of good stuff.
Yeah. I
That
don't know.
should-
I thought it was also interesting because they were talking about how it's not necessarily like these sounds aren't necessarily like already in the video. Like a lot of times, you know, like with movies and stuff, the reason that they put the sounds in afterwards is because like you're not able to pick them up because like the microphones are mainly used for like dialogue and stuff. So like someone walking on the street isn't going to be picked up by a microphone, or it's not even necessarily a real sound. It's just we associate those things with sounds. So then they have like if they weren't in the video, it would be something would be off and you wouldn't necessarily notice it, but something would be weird.
That's one of the things that there's a name for it, to where you like sit in a studio and the actors will like redo their lines
Yeah.
again because again, yeah, they were outside and something wasn't picked up well or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's called looping or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. But I always felt that would be very hard because like I could understand if you're on the set and you are in character and you've got the clothes on and you're on, you know, you're like, for instance, when I was at Mindhunter, we were in an old prison.
Right.
The guy was in his garb. He was this guy. And so when he was saying these things, he was in the moment.
Yeah.
Now, 8 months later, someone says, yeah, we need you to loop these things again. Now you're in a sound studio in LA. You're not in an actual prison. And now you have to sound like you're there. Again, acting is a lot. I've learned that everything is tougher than people think it is.
Yeah.
Like someone says, oh, acting's easy. No, I mean, acting poorly is easy.
It would suck for like a sex scene in that way.
Yeah.
If you had to go back and sit in the same room that you acted out the sex scene with, like sit in the same room with that person.
Uh-huh.
It was probably awkward the first time that you did it, but now you have to sit next to each other and just make the noises of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the worst is they talk about it. There's a lot of times where the people that are doing the sex scenes despise each other.
Yeah.
And so, can you imagine being naked with someone you hate for like 12 hours, rubbing up against each other, and you have to pretend like you're having the most unbelievably passionate sex in the world, and you're like, I hate this person.
Yeah. What if that makes you fall in love?
Which is why
I want to hear that as the beginning of a love story.
Yeah, I hated this person. Then we had to rub against each other and simulate sex, and then we had babies.
That's a beautiful story.
That's the Notebook 3. Anyways, Is that it, Alex?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That is Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex. Alex, thank you very much for just all of the knowledge that you just shine on the internet every week.
People need to know.
People do need to know. Now, next up, it's Hot Takes. Play my song. All right, Hot Takes. This is me, my Hot Takes. It's pretty self-explanatory. First and foremost, Panera Bread started these stores called Panera Cares.
Panera Cares.
Anyways, so they were in these towns. I think they were in Boston, L.A., Chicago, St. Louis, all these places. And the whole point was you were supposed to pay what you felt you could pay. So you go in there, you get a bowl of soup. They'd have suggested prices, but if you sat there and went like, "Hey, I'm down on my luck. I can only pay you $2." They'd take $2.
Yeah.
Or you sit there and say, "You know what? I've been blessed. I'll pay $10 for this soup." Well, the problem is that this week they closed the last Panera Cares because people were showing up and just eating free food.
Right.
They said homeless people were showing up and eating free food, and students, they said, were showing up and eating free food. And so no one was paying in, and everyone was kind of paying out. And so a bunch of like conservative bloggers were all like, "See, this is what happens if you had socialism. You just can't just have everyone take and no one pay in and stuff like that." And I agree that's a problem. But also the problem is, why is it that we have such a huge problem to where a bunch of kids and a bunch of homeless people can't get can't get a meal?
Right.
And this is the only place they could go.
Yeah.
Now the problem isn't necessarily that socialism doesn't quote unquote work, but the problem is if this is the only place where they can go, they're going to continually go if this is the only place they can get a bowl of soup.
Right.
So that's my hot take. Second one, why did it take this long to just put bacon and cheese on McDonald's French fries?
Dude, I don't know.
They're putting bacon in Big Macs. They're putting bacon in Quarter Pounder with cheese. And now they're putting bacon and cheese on their McDonald's French fries.
Yeah, they're really kind of late on that fad.
Well, that's the thing about it.
They should be like on the avocado fad right now, you know?
Yeah. Well, they did.
Even late for that.
Well, they put it on avocado on a few burgers.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're now getting to bacon, just like there had to be someone back in like the Baconator, like Wendy's really jumped on the bacon thing first, and
Yeah.
it made them. And McDonald's has had bacon on some breakfast sandwiches for years. I just figured out 6 months ago you could actually request bacon on your Egg McMuffin. I was not aware of that.
Well, damn.
Did you know that?
I don't eat breakfast at McDonald's.
Okay, but if you do, you can go there. Hey, could you substitute bacon instead of my ham on my Egg McMuffin? And they'll do it.
Ew, it comes with ham normally.
That's an egg. You don't know what it's in an Egg McMuffin?
No.
Have you?
I hate breakfast.
Okay, we'll discuss that later. Anyways, so I'm just weirded out with the fact that it took this long for McDonald's to get on the bacon bandwagon. Another thing, newsflash, football is very popular.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, yesterday on Saturday, because we're recording on Sunday, the Alliance of American Football, which is a new football league, started its play. And it was on CBS national television, and everyone's like, "Hey, well, this is kind of, second-tier football. These are guys that couldn't make the NFL, blah, blah, blah." But read what it says, Alex.
It says, in its debut last night, the AAF beat the NBA on ABC in head-to-head overnight.
Which means a bunch of just random dudes playing football beat the NBA in national TV ratings.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are sitting there going, "Yeah, I love this. This is how the NFL should be." And then they had a couple big hits on quarterbacks, and they're like, "See, this is what the NFL should do," and all this kind of stuff. But here's the problem. Here's why you can have big hits on quarterbacks in the Alliance of American Football, or the AAF. No one knows who these people are.
No one gives a shit yet.
Yeah. So the reason why you don't hit Tom Brady, the reason why you don't hit Ben Roethlisberger, the reason why you don't hit Pat Mahomes is because, if you don't know yet, the NFL is a TV show.
Yes.
And essentially, Tom Brady is the J.R. Ewing of the NFL. He's the heel. He's the bad guy. But if he's not playing, then no one gives a crap about the New England Patriots. And if you're going to put a TV show on at 8 o'clock on Sunday on a network, you want to have your main villain there. Or if you're from Boston, the good guy.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. He's a TV star. Pat Mahomes, TV star. Antonio Brown, he's a TV star. He's not a... They don't get paid because they are good football players. They're great entertainers, and we're entertained by watching them.
Right.
So right now, the AAF you can nail the quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. No one knows him. He's not a TV star yet. Now, ultimately, in 6 months, if he does become a TV star, watch him try to protect him, because then he becomes important to their money. Also, Alex, I don't know if you know this, but we have a huge heroin problem in this country.
Yeah.
I don't think so. There's plenty. Anyways, so I was thinking about how we can defeat the heroin problem in this country.
Okay.
And here's what I've come with. We've got to make life so amazing that heroin becomes boring.
So are you saying this for all drugs? Like, we could really get rid of all of them if life is that exciting?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying just we should be we have too much focus right now on making life longer, not making life better. Like Jose Canseco talked about, he sat there and said, hey, I could make your life 30 years longer. And I bet you there was some people going, it's 30 years too long as it is.
Yeah.
We got to start making life super cool so that if someone says, hey, you want this heroin? And we go, no, life is amazing. It's strippers and freaking porno and freaking hot dogs and cheerleaders every night for me. That's what we got a gun for. Just making life so amazing that heroin and Oxycontin and pain medication, all that kind of stuff, it's too tranquil. It doesn't work anymore.
I like that that's your idea of an amazing world. What
I'm
was
just
it? Strippers, porno, hot dogs, and cheerleaders.
I just sat
That
there.
that was your
Well, first off,
description.
every one of those things was pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Hot dogs are fun. Strippers are fun.
Yeah.
Cheerleaders are fun. Football, pizza,
Are cheerleaders fun? I think they'd get annoying if you just had like your own personal cheerleader in your life, you know? Just always there.
I would have to coach them up and to do different cheers.
Yeah.
It's like a band. Like, I don't want a marching band behind me because I hate marching bands. But if they would play like the theme to Shaft, that'd be cool.
Okay.
I have ideas. I say them. And then Alex takes a giant wet dump on all of them.
Yup.
Anyways, that was Hot Takes. We're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back with, trust me, I didn't even know this. Air Supply made some really crazy videos. We're going to go over them next on the Mike Sasson Show. Keep listening on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. And one of the reasons to listen to them, no Air Supply. No Air Supply on this channel whatsoever. My name's Mike Sasson. That's Alex Clemens over there. We'll be right back. Alrighty, so every week here on the Mike Sasson Show, I have Alex show a video. I show her some videos from a previous generation.
Yeah.
Well, last week I had made a reference that I don't think that if I made the reference that Jeff Bezos, when he talked about those texts that he sent to his girlfriend, and I said he's ripping off Air Supply lyrics.
Yeah.
Were you aware of what Air Supply was?
I know what Air Supply is, but
Okay.
I don't think that I would know their lyrics that well to be like, oh yeah, totally, Mike.
Okay. So I sat there and I went, you know what? For Fresh Eyes this week, because maybe that reference was not completely taken by people, I decided to make this week's Fresh Eyes into Air Supply. So this week, it's Air Supply. Play the theme song. All right, so here's Air Supply. This is according to their Wikipedia page. Air Supply are a soft rock duo consisting of English singer-songwriter and guitarist Graham Russell and Australian lead vocalist Russell Hitchcock. They had a succession of hits worldwide.
Excuse me, wait. What are their names?
Graham Russell.
Graham Russell and Russell Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that's what you said.
That's
Got
exactly.
it.
Yeah, their Air Supply. They have a succession of hits worldwide, including 8 top 10 hits in the United States in the early 80s. They formed in Australia, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Anyways, so what I have known about Air Supply was that they wrote the sappiest love songs ever put to CDs. Are you showing the picture of Air Supply?
Yeah, and it went really well with what you were saying.
Yeah, they wrote songs that would make Journey go like, my God, are these guys
Barf.
Yeah, these guys are pussies.
Yeah.
These guys just like, I mean, they wrote like love songs that if one of these guys wrote I'm going to read you All Out of Love. Let's just go to that.
Okay.
So I'm going to Google Air Supply lyrics. Probably my phone will burst into flames.
I don't think there's ever been a more unattractive duo.
Yeah,
than
they're
them.
they're not.
How it amazes me that they did anything with looking like that.
It's the 80s, man. Before videos, you could be ugly as hell and no one would see you.
Oh, God, but still, like, who went to see them live? They probably went to see them live, and they're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
These guys are singing about love.
Yeah, it's really weird how they did that. Okay, so here's the first one. The first video was All Out of Love.
Yeah.
That was, and of the 3, it was the most bare bones. It could be made by the technology that's on any of our phones.
Yeah, I really wish that, like, they definitely made this in, like, just, like, a little, like, studio. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, I could have totally made a parody of this video whenever I was in college because it looked exactly like our studio.
Yeah. And another thing that I found out about Air Supply, there's 37 people in the band.
Yeah, it's weird.
I know. By the way, I counted how many people have been in Air Supply. 29 people have been in Air Supply.
Who's joining that group?
Here's what happens, I bet you. Someone sits there and comes out to and goes, hey, I got you a gig. You could be the guitarist in Air Supply. They're like, wow, I'm in a band and I get to be a professional guitarist. Then like 8 months later, you're like, these songs suck. Get me off this crap.
Yeah, I was just, that whole video, I was like, is there anyone attractive, like, behind them maybe? But they're all kind of, like, in the dark, and then you just see them, and they have terrible close-ups that are the most awkward things
so
ever.
Let's say someone in your middle school wrote this to you like as a love note.
Okay. Not now.
Right now, let's say. Someone did it today.
Okay.
I'm lying alone with my head on the phone, thinking of you until it hurts. I know you hurt too, but what else can we do? Tormented and torn apart. I wish I could carry your smile in my heart for times when my life feels so low. It would make me believe what tomorrow could bring when today doesn't really know. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right, believing for so long. I'm all out of love. What am I without you?
It literally, when I was in, like, elementary school and, like, middle school, I used to write songs and poems all the time. This could literally have been one of them.
Yes. Yeah, that's how simple.
Like, how they rhyme things.
Yeah.
Everything. And it's just, like, top of my head, like, the first things that I can think of whenever I think about love and how.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It literally would be like how a 13-year-old girl and boy think of love.
Yeah.
So then the second video, which is wow, they got a little money, and now they just get weird. Okay,
Yeah.
We go to Even the Nights Are Better. That's the one where they're on Broadway.
This is a fucking terrible video.
Yeah. So the one with the fro that you just saw, if you're watching on Facebook Live, I don't know which one's the English one, which one's the Australian one. I don't care.
God.
So he's walking on like Coney Island boardwalk or whatever like that, and he's lonely, and he's talking about that no one loves him and everything like that. Then he goes on the beach, no one loves him. Then he meets his buddy, and then no one loves him
he
either.
He meets his buddy.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're like, oh my God, they're going to kiss right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen. Like, that's what this video is going to be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen.
And
but
by
you
the
really
way, the
think
big
it does.
blonde tall one has like his entire chest showing too.
Oh, yeah, because that's how you walk on a beach to, like, meet up with your buddy, you know?
So then, by the way, at the same time, there is these two really younger looking girls.
Yeah.
By the way, Air Supply at this point are like middle age. They're not younger dudes. And I'm sitting there going, these are not the girls that they're going to get.
Yup. They were the only other people in the video. That's a lie. There was one other person in the video because he was walking alone and you couldn't see anyone. There's one guy. Whenever he walked down these stairs, there's one guy in the back. I was like, oh, they fucked up.
Yeah.
He's not alone.
Yep. But these girls are insanely young. And I'm like, there had to be some sort of trick. Because these two guys are not attractive.
No.
And yet these two, like, they're like, you could tell they're like hot actresses.
Also, it looked like he was wearing a wedding ring in the video.
Probably is married. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and I was like, okay, even if you are married, don't wear it in the fucking video where you're like trying to hook up with this girl.
So then they roll past them on these two bikes. And then the next scene is they're already like hanging out together. And then they go to like, then they just like make out and they're just like together. And it's really creepy because these guys are like really a lot older. Like, I'm all for older dudes getting younger chicks, but this was like really odd that they all of a sudden just were like, yeah, that's the dude I want.
And it was definitely super weird. And also that they were at an amusement park, so it made it a little bit weirder that these girls were so much younger than them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like you said, like immediately, like the next shot, they're like right next to each other, like super close. Like I wouldn't even act like that was someone I had been dating for a while.
Yeah.
And they went on that ride, you know, those one rides that like go in a circle and they like smush you up against the people.
Yeah.
God, I would never do that with someone I just met.
Yes, but that's the whole video.
It's so creepy. And then my favorite part is the ending, where like, okay, so they just had this cute little like double date and stuff like that, and somehow these guys got these women because they were the only other people on the beach.
Yeah.
I think that was the only thing.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they just like look at each other and kind of like, you know, wink at each other, and then they go off with the
two
with
women.
their woman.
They're off to bang. Yeah.
Yep. I was like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
That was a creepy way to end it.
That was a creepy way to end it. But then the third video,
yeah,
which takes the cake for one of the weirdest videos I've ever seen in my life. It is for making love out of nothing at all.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, the blonder, taller, ugly dude,
yes,
is with this insanely young blonde woman.
Beautiful.
They're driving and they're arguing because he has to go on tour and she's saying, no, don't go. Even though, like, you're going out with a guy from Air Supply, you got to know he's eventually going to have to go on tour.
Also, even his voice when he's talking, terrible.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh, I just want to throw up every time this guy does anything.
Yeah. And so he's in the car.
Yep.
So he gets, like, they're sitting there and they're like going, no, I'm not going to be here. This is us breaking up and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so he gets on the private plane.
Yeah.
Flies off.
Yeah.
She then goes and, like, but here's the weird part. The chronologic doesn't match because the guy's life, he's on, like, tour for, like, 5 months. And the woman immediately goes home, packs her bag. I don't understand why she packed it so hastily, like there was like clothes hanging out of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though no one's kicking her out,
No.
she could have just stayed there for the next 6
Right.
months. Apparently, it's her house too because she's driving the car. I mean, like if it's his house and his car, whatever like that, she could just she could have robbed him blind.
Yeah.
So whatever. So then he goes off, and then the weirdness starts. Because they're at the concert, and for some reason they're making it that Air Supply is like the Rolling Stones, like they're like they're playing this amazing music in the like all the crowds going crazy for this craptastic music.
Yeah.
And then he's banging other chicks.
Yeah. Yeah. That I think was the craziest part. Okay, also this was the first one that I watched, and so I didn't really understand the dynamic of the two of them, and I was like, is the other dude gay? Because like it's weird that he's the one singing the whole song, but he's not the one in the video.
Yeah.
That was super weird to me. So I was like, is he gay? Why is he not the person in this video? Like, why did you? Not that either one of you are attractive, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand any of that. And then, yeah, he's like, I was like, in the beginning, I was like, thank God, you got to get out of there, girl.
Yeah.
Like, if you have children, they're going to be fucked up.
Yeah.
and they're not going to look
So,
pretty.
like, literally, like, in part of the video, he's, like, nude with this one woman. Like, the only thing's covering, like, his junk. And she's, like, and the girl, again, another beautiful woman, sits there and goes, hey, that was great. And he's just like, no, I don't.
No, get away from me.
And he has a picture of the other woman looking at the two of them.
Yeah.
And, like, again, as a woman, if you were getting with a guy and had a picture of his ex-girlfriend looking at you, would you just be like, that's weird, you need to turn that
maybe,
around?
Yeah, or just put it farther away from the bed.
Yeah, that's a weird. And so, again, so he's off doing whatever. He misses her, even though he already banged into the girl. But she legitimately drives back from the airport,
Yeah.
packs her clothes,
Yep.
gets in the car.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't get this part, but I think they were trying to say turns on the radio.
Yeah, and
it
heard
was
the song.
Air Supply. And
Yeah.
she goes, oh, that's right. He's rich. I should turn this around. So then she goes off.
My favorite part about this scene is she turns the car around, and then they show a sign of the airport. Like,
says-
no one knew where the fuck she was going. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she just turned the car around just
Yeah.
for funsies.
Yeah, she just
We
went to
know
the-
where she's going.
So then, by the way, if you think I'm making this up, this is 100% what this video is. So then he's on stage. She gets through the entire security because apparently everyone knows that this is the girl, which,
Yeah.
again, I suspended disbelief. Yes, everyone knows that the guitarist from Air Supply's girlfriend looks like that.
Yeah.
So she gets literally right on stage, all of a sudden, like, starts smiling, catches it, and she mouths, I love you.
Yep.
The bassist, the blonde guy, mouths, I love you. And then they kiss under 80s lasers. Am I making any of that up?
No. And then the other dude's just there.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, all right, cool. Cool things.
I have not laughed more in the past year than I did when the lasers were on the two of them as they were making out. It was just like, who thought this would be good?
I mean, how else are you going to end that video? During, the writing process, they're like, okay, this video's kind of fucked up. How do we end it amazingly?
Yeah.
Some guys are like, lasers.
Yes.
All the way. Lasers.
By the way, I made the decision. We're going to post this video. It's the first time we've done this. We're going to post this one on the Mike Sasson Show
Okay.
Facebook because people need to see the glory, which is this video.
I thought you were going to say that we were going to start including lasers into the show.
We should. Only if they were like 80s lasers, to where like they're real faint and they're just kind of blue and stuff.
And then there's
like
a little tiny bit of like fog.
to show the lasers. You have to have that.
Yeah.
All right. So then I also included, because one of the funniest like throw-in Saturday Night Live sketches of my life was when Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan pretended to be Air Supply.
Yeah.
If you put their pictures out,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
I
yeah.
sent you there. This was like one of those, like at the end of Saturday Night Live at like 12:45, they just have these weird
Like short
sketches.
skits, yeah.
This was one of them. This was when Storytellers was huge.
Yeah.
And so the way the sketch is they start out, they're Will Ferrell, and by the way, if you see the picture, they look almost exact.
They really do.
they
Yeah,
really
I'll
do.
show you both of them.
Yeah, they really got it to where they were both looking pretty much like Air Supply. So in the sketch, they're back on Storytellers. No one in the audience knows who they are or even likes them.
Yeah.
And then they start playing their song, and it's a holiday song that sounds like every Air Supply song. Like, it's Christmas time. It's time for
Oh, no, it's a Thanksgiving song,
it's
too.
Thanksgiving. It's holiday time.
Yeah.
It's time for turkey. And then it suddenly gets in the fact that, like you talked about them being gay. All of a sudden in the sketch, they start like coming closer to each other, and then eventually they make out.
Yeah. And I was like, that's exactly what I thought would happen in one of these videos. Like, that's so true. I'm glad that that's what
And then
they
the
put
best
in there.
line was when the announcer sits there and goes, "Trust me, we will not be back with VH1 Storytelling."
Yeah. I like in the beginning of it, they're like, okay, so one more time for you guys. Like, they just came back from commercial. They're like, one more time for you guys. We're going to go through every single one of our hits. And they're like, nothing? Okay.
But yeah, the audience members were really good because they were
Yeah.
just like annoyed by the whole thing.
Yeah. I enjoyed the makeout scene.
Okay, so let's review. Alex, your fresh eye take. Because this could have been fresh eyes, both of us, because I had never seen these videos either.
Yeah.
Give me your review just quickly about these videos. What did I leave out? What was...
I don't think that you left out anything. They're insane people.
Perverts.
That I don't know if they were insane because they're not good looking or if they're insane and also not good looking. I'm not quite sure which it is. But I don't know how they got famous.
Yeah.
That's the part I really don't understand, especially with lyrics like that.
Yeah.
Middle school lyrics.
They were huge.
Don't understand.
Huge.
Who was like, oh, yeah.
Moms. Every time.
God, moms.
Back in the day, I would say, like, in the mid-'80s, when my mom would turn on, like, the equivalent of 92.9 now.
Yeah.
Like, the mom station. These songs would be... That's why I was so shocked by it, because I'd assumed that every one of these videos would be them, like, walking on a beach with a woman, and it would be so beautiful and everything. And no, it was perverted old dudes with young guys.
I feel like these songs are really
Perverted old dudes with young girls. They wanted to be young guys.
I feel like these songs are only really useful for when you're like trying to do that really cheesy like scene in a show where like it's raining and you're like looking out the window, you know, you're trying to do that scene and All Out of Love is playing in the background, you know?
I think these songs have been played on the part of Deadpool.
Oh, really?
Because that's I think why they got a little bit of a resurgence.
Oh.
Because Deadpool. Because these are right down the alley of just kind of like the cheesiest '80s kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll post the one "Making Love Out of Nothing at All" because it's insane.
Just really great.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, you got to watch it because you'll just be like, Mike, there's no way everything that you just said. Laser making out with an older dude and a younger, insane, beautiful woman. And then the one where they're also spinning, where she's...
Oh, God, that was so bad. That made me so dizzy.
Yeah. Didn't make her dizzy.
I really love watching these videos just because I like to see the special effects that were popular and, like, crazy at that time, you know? They're bad.
They're bad. But you know what's good?
Us.
News and notes from the world of sports, music, non-Grammy things, lots of cool stuff. So play the song. All right, so Jeff Bezos, I don't even know what his name is. I don't care. Anyway, so he runs Amazon. And again, as I mentioned last week, he's in a bit of trouble because apparently his now girlfriend has a brother who's a huge Trump supporter. So somehow the National Enquirer got a hold of pictures and texts from Jeff Bezos. And apparently there's a dick pic. Because now the reason why this headline is factual is because the guy who runs the National Enquirer, his name was Pecker. So that's why. What's the headline read?
Bezos exposes Pecker.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
That is some good news right there.
I know. If you ever want to have, that's one of the things. Like, if there's certain things. Like, again, I'm a Pittsburgher through and through. Anytime I talk to anybody from New York, they're like, "Oh, New York is the best at everything." I'm like, "No, it's a scum hole, and everyone sucks it." And but there's one thing that New York has over Pittsburgh: stuff like this. The New York Daily News and the Post and their headlines are so good.
Like I would have quit my job after that. Like I'm not going to do any better than this. This was my moment.
Yes. But here's my thing. Why is a guy worth $150 billion sending dick pics?
Funsies. Billionaires like to have fun, too.
This isn't a billionaire. This is the richest man in the world.
Well, they like to have fun, too. And sometimes, you know, and I feel like it would be way better if you were him. Because it's, like, even more scandalous. Because things like this could happen. You know? Imagine being the person who received that and you're like, you are willing to risk so much for me to see your dick. That would be an incredible feeling, I think.
Now, okay, let me ask you. Now you're getting into the real, is that really in your minds? Because a lot of women say, oh, dick pics, they're ugly, I hate them. But you're saying it's not necessarily the actual penis picture that is the most whatever. I mean, obviously, if it's great looking, you're like
Right.
wonderful. But it's the fact that you know that the guy's taking a risk, and you're like, you know what? For me, you're willing to take that risk.
He's being vulnerable, you know?
It's about being sensitive. And see, it's not, dick pics aren't about being all bro-like. It's about being open and saying, here, I'm letting you, for the rest of your life, on your phone, have a gallery of my junk.
See, there's two ways to send dick pics. There's the bro way to send them, which is just send a shit ton of them to people who don't want them.
Okay.
And then there's the nice, vulnerable way to do it where you kind of hold out for a while, you know? And then you send it and you're like, wow, this is a big step in our relationship because I know how hesitant you were to do this. And now you did, and wow, really shows a lot.
Do you think that eventually, it's not now with daughters and moms, but let's say when you have a daughter, if you sat there and like she goes up to you and goes, Mom, I think we just made a big step. He just sent me a picture of his dick. And you're like, oh my God, that's wonderful. I love Jeremy.
I think it would probably depend on the age of my daughter.
She's not like 12, but I mean like.
Okay, well that's fine then.
Yeah, she's like, 17, whatever.
I'm happy for you.
Oh, that's amazing.
I can't wait to see what's next in your relationship.
That's great.
Was it good?
Yeah. Do you want to show it to the family? Share it with everyone?
Put a little slideshow on the TV.
Yeah. Maybe that's how you. Here's the thing. What happens if you're old-fashioned and like the guy comes up to the dad, be like, I'd like permission to marry your daughter, and he sits there and goes, have you sent a picture of your junk to my daughter? Because if not, I don't think that you're ready.
Yet.
I don't think you're ready at all.
No.
So Jeff Bezos, according to Alex, good for you.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud.
Another thing that we're proud of is strippers.
Yeah.
Last week, as I mentioned before, last week was the Super Bowl. And in Atlanta, which is a huge stripper town, known for famous strip clubs.
Yes.
Apparently, they had the day after the Super Bowl, the Stripper Bowl.
Which sounds great.
I know. They brought in like something like 30 strippers or 25 strippers. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so they all were doing the dancing, and each dancer, I sent the picture, there was $3 million. $3
million.
That's $3 million you're looking at in that picture. Split equally amongst the 25 women. The 25 women brought home $125,000 in cash apiece.
Yep.
Alex, if somebody could guarantee you that you'll start work at 8 o'clock, you'll end work at 2 in the morning, and guarantee you $125,000 at the end of that night, are you shaking what your mama gave you?
I really think so.
125 grand. I mean, that's a year for a very successful person. That's a person who like is a doctor, lawyer, whatever like that. If you're a decent doctor, $125,000 is a year. You made it in a night.
One night. All you could literally just do that once a year. You could literally just train all year to be the best stripper that you could ever be. And
that's
then do
a lot of
the
pressure.
stripper bowl.
That's a lot of pressure. If that's like you make your what if that's the one night you got a zit on your butt? That's the one night that you pull a hammy and you can't do the twerking?
I don't know, man.
That's a lot of pressure. You got to have like some auxiliary dates.
Well,
and
maybe
stuff
they have like playoffs.
Yeah,
Playoffs.
you can't just go straight to the stripper bowl.
Do they compete against each other, or are they just stripping? I'm confused by that part.
I have no idea. It didn't really explain what the stripper bowl entailed.
What? Okay, so the other thing about this photo is that basically the caption that this woman put on it says, since y'all got so many questions, we made $3 million and split it 25 ways. You happy? Have some compassion and ask us how we feel after counting till 1 p.m. p.m.
The next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My eyes are bleeding. Also, why don't they just get one of those machines that they have at a bank? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they put in like
they do in Scarface when they goes take it to the limit and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. All strip clubs should have those. I honestly want to create like a charity program to provide strip clubs with those money counters.
You know what? I think that could be like something, like you have, like we raise money, like we have softball tournaments and stuff like that. We help strippers get those counting machines.
Yeah, maybe instead of, like we'll have people give us money for the show, and instead of us taking it because we're such charitable beings,
Yes.
we go and donate money counters to strip clubs.
Yes. And by the way, 120. If someone said 125 grand, yeah, I'll shake my junk for 125.
Yeah,
grand.
I mean, I'd probably do it for a lot less, but I always feel like I'd be an awkward stripper, so it's
Why do you
never
feel you'd be
tried.
an awkward stripper?
I don't know. I'm just not very like good at dancing in that way.
No, very few. There's like 3 levels of stripper dancing. There's the people that like do the pole stuff that's like incredible.
Which I want to do that.
Which yeah, I mean that there's like you can. It doesn't even have to be strippers. There's places where you can go and just learn to do
Oh
that.
yeah. But
Then there's the ones that kind of do the dancing and stuff like that.
Yep.
Then there's the one that just kind of sways on the pole.
yeah, I don't want to be that person though.
But you still make money swaying on the
Yeah,
pole.
but I
But then
don't
your
want
personality and your smile and everything like that, I think, would work out.
I think I could be a good stripper because I'm a very patient person.
The key to being a good stripper is 1, being able to smile and making sure
I
that you
can
make
smile.
everybody feels good. 2, you gotta sell. You gotta go up to the person, and I don't like it when you go to a club and the girls kind of just mill around. You could sit there and say, "Hey, there's money in these men. They're here for a reason." Go up to them, talk to them, and then you got to ask the question, which is, "Hey, would you like a dance?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'd be bad at that part.
Why is that?
I don't think I don't know. I'm not very good at going up to people, and I'm not very good at selling things to people.
You're not selling. You just all you have to do is sit there and you talk to them for a couple seconds. Be like, "Hey, would you like a dance?" And if they say no, you're like, "Okay, great," and then you move on.
Bye.
Yeah, that's it. Breaking studios.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you feel that would be the downfall.
Yeah.
You could wear like sparkly lingerie.
Oh man, I've worn stripper shoes before. Like the clear, really super high heeled stripper shoes. They make you feel like $1,000,000. Seriously, I wanted to buy a pair just for me to wear around my house before I go out, and just to make me feel really confident because they're incredible.
The problem with those is that one time when I go to the strip club, I'm a 6'4" guy. All of a sudden, there's like, "Oh my God, you're like 6 foot. That's amazing." Nope, it's the stripper shoes. She's actually 5'4".
Yeah.
So then she takes off the stripper shoes, and I'm like, "Son of a bitch!"
I forgot about them. I'm gonna order myself some.
There you go.
Treat yourself.
Speaking of someone who should treat themselves, Brooklyn Decker, who's a model,
Yeah.
swimsuit model back in the day. She's had a couple kids. Here's what gets me. So she's like out and about. She's doing all this kind of stuff, and women are tweeting her and saying, "What happened to your body? What's going on? Where's your boobs? Where's your butt? What happened to you? Blah 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 blah." And so read the tweet that she wrote out.
So she says, for the umpteenth time, because people love to comment on my body or lack thereof, my children sucked the life out of my body and left behind a bag of bones. I don't know what else to tell you. I miss my boobs too. I don't even know what to call them now.
But the thing that gets me is, would you ever go up to another woman and sit there and comment and say, "Hey, you used to be a lot hotter. What happened to you?"
No. You only say nice things about people's bodies.
But why? I don't get where people feel because she's a celebrity, she's well known, whatever like that. Where would it come into your brain that you would message them and say, "Oh, by the way, you were a lot hotter 5 years ago"?
Yeah, it's those people without the filters, Because you're thinking that. You're like, oh, she did used to be hotter. Like, where's her boobs? But you don't, those are not things that you say out loud, you know?
Or put on social media.
Yeah, or definitely put on social media. It's just, having a filter, people.
Yeah. Before you send, just think about it for a couple seconds.
You can run it by us.
Another thing that should be thought of is I think I put on the story about skinny privilege.
Yeah.
With so this was a weird story. So this woman who is a bigger woman talked about the fact that she went out with this guy. The guy they went on a date. She thought that things were working out, so they went on a second date. The second date, she brought her to her house. She made food. They eventually slept together. He then completely
Ghosted her.
And she found out the only reason why the guy ever got with her is because he was on a dare from his buddies to go and have sex with a bigger woman.
It's literally like the stupid scene in a movie.
Yes, it's legitimately like,
Except they always fall in love afterwards.
Yeah. But the problem is then she talked and she wrote this article about what she talked about skinny privilege, where she sat there and went that skinny girls, don't get treated like this and blah, 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 blah. And then a bunch of people on like internet and all this kind of stuff started attacking her and stuff like that. Here's my problem. Because a lot of people said, well, you'd get treated better if you stopped eating so much, or you'd start, doing all this kind of stuff. And it comes back to the point of like, just because someone has a different body type than what you have doesn't give you the right to treat them like crap.
No.
And then people are like, oh, now we had white privilege. Now we've got skinny privilege. And we got male privilege. And
right.
But it's one of those things.
Also, like, no one deserves to be treated like that. Like, no one deserves to have someone, like, sleep with them because of a dare.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a shitty thing.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Yes.
You don't want that to happen to anyone.
Yes. But people all got freaked out on the internet. They're like, oh, now we've got another person who claiming she's a victim, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, something really awful happened to her, and she's sharing it and saying, this is crappy. We shouldn't do these type of things. And everyone's getting on her. Because, again, she's using kind of code words that people kind of like bristle at and stuff.
Probably not the best words to use, that weight privilege. Then people are like, oh, my God, and don't even read the thing and then freak out about it.
But it is true. Skinny people get treated better than big people.
Yeah.
So maybe we should treat bigger men especially better, like me. Treat me better. That's all what this story's about, is just treat me better.
Yeah, the only reason he brought it up.
Yeah, only reason. Another thing that's happening, apparently we're in 2019, so every year they come out with new emojis.
Woo, because we need more.
Well,
they come out with new emojis every year, and they're fucking pointless.
Well, what do you think of this new one?
Which one?
The fingers really close together is supposed to signify that the person that you're dealing with isn't exactly packing heat.
Right. Very useful.
So this one, you're saying this is a useful one.
Yep.
Okay. Also, there are now ones with like people in wheelchairs, and now this one, which is also getting a little bit of traction, a blood to signify periods.
Also super useful, I think.
So you would be able to sit there and be like, why didn't you have sex with him? And then you had the skinny hand here and then the period blood.
I just really think it's a useful emoji just because sometimes, depending on the person you're talking to, you don't necessarily want to be like, oh, I have my period, or like, oh, you have to say like, oh, it's that time of the month or something like that. And sometimes it's a little awkward to talk about. You have an emoji, it takes all that out of it.
So
it makes it a little fun.
So some dude writes you like, hey, can you come over tonight?
And you just send that back, and that's it.
Yeah, end of story.
Done. Yep.
But then he sends back a smiley face and a towel, and you're like cool with it.
Yeah, or he sends back the little like finger emojis. He's like, it's cool. I wasn't packing anything anyways.
Yeah, nothing was gonna
We
happen.
all good here.
Yeah, we were just gonna cuddle. Speaking of cuddling, that wasn't a good one. Anyways,
They're never good. What do you mean?
I don't know. So on Delta Airlines, and I actually flew Delta Airlines a few months ago and saw these. Diet Coke had on their napkins a cute little message. And again, when a 6'4", 300-pound man says cute little message. Yeah, I thought they were cute little messages. Apparently it said, you tell me if I'm wrong, but essentially it says, hey, there's a bunch of strangers on this flight. Just take your shot. Or what is actually?
It says, because you're on a plane full of interesting people, and hey, you never know.
Yeah. And then on the other side, it actually had a place to get a phone number. And everyone everybody, I thought there was, again, I'll use the word cute. I thought like, oh, that's fun, whatever, who knows. People are now freaking out saying, oh, how dare you, this is dangerous, blah, 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 you shouldn't do this, why is Diet Coke doing this? This is weird. And Diet Coke had to apologize and say, sorry, we didn't want to offend anybody.
All they needed was a love story to come out of it. That's all you need to promote anything. As long as there is something like a cute love story that was because of this napkin, that's all they needed to promote it. They could have had a whole commercial revolving around these people, but it had to be real. It had to be a real thing.
My point is, first off, anyone who's ever been on a long plane flight know they suck.
Right.
You're in a tube for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you sit there and someone hands you a Diet Coke or hands you a bag of pretzels. They're like, ooh, yay, something's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's the most boring shit in the world. All of a sudden, you look on the napkin and there's a freaking, like, little saying that sounds like a little cheeky. And you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
fun, whatever. Why is anybody getting bent out of shape about this crap? It doesn't require you. It doesn't sit there and say, if you want to get off this plane, get 4 phone numbers or you're going to die. Like, what are you talking about?
People
Some
are
mom,
so
I love
terrible.
some mom would sit there and be like, my daughter is 12 years old and got a Diet Coke, and she read this, and she was like, Mom, what does this mean? And I had to explain on a flight to San Diego about how men and women procreate, and it was very, very, very awkward.
That's it. That's the only reason.
It's a soda. It's a napkin. Shut up.
Damn, I really wish that I would have seen this. I'm flying Delta now. I'm supporting you,
No,
Delta.
Delta's already freaking canned it. No more.
Well, I want to still support them.
Here's what you could do. Like, okay, at your store
This would
on
have
the
been
back
my
of...
idea also.
Yeah, this is definitely like an Alex idea. Be like, hey, you're on a flight.
Let's get everyone together.
Well, let me ask you this question. Bars,
Yeah.
bar napkins, that'd be perfect.
Aw. That's super cute. I'm having that at my bar. Bar Alex.
Bar Alex.
That was the best name I
know.
could come up with.
You are such an improviser. It's incredible. Insane. Now, final story of the night. Again, your wedding is typically one of the, or supposed to be one of the happiest moments of your life until you figure out that the man that you say you want to spend the rest of your life with is a complete scumbag.
Ah, I thought you were going to say serial killer.
No.
That's worse, I think.
Well, listen to this and then you tell me.
Okay.
A groom was handcuffed at his own wedding for allegedly groping a teenager and exposing himself in a bathroom stall.
All right, yeah, you're right. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure serial killer is still worse. But God, this guy has such he has one of those faces where he looks like a million other people, you know? He has one of those just...
Matthew Ronald Almers, 31, of Willingboro, New Jersey, was arraigned on charges dating from a November 24th wedding in Bucks County, PA, as originally reported by the Philadelphia Inquirer. He was nabbed for harassment, disorderly conduct, indecent assault, and exposure, as well as corruption and imprisonment of a minor. After saying, I do, Almers apparently scoped out an underage waitress working at the wedding reception, according to a criminal complaint sent to Yahoo Lifestyle by Bucks County District Attorney's Office. Almers propositioned her for a hookup, saying, "We can do whatever you want." When the employee said no, Almer stalked her in the restroom, grabbed her arm, and forced her into a stall, blocking the door with his body. During the alleged sexual assault, Almers pulled down his pants and said, "Can you kiss me like you mean it?" and offered the victim $100 for sexual favors. On his wedding day, he's a groom at a wedding reception, and he's doing this.
I mean, it doesn't. It's
Can you annul a wedding after 6 hours?
Probably shouldn't do that any day. But
if the freaking priest is there, can you just go up to him and just be like, "Hey, Father,
can we just forget about this?
Just wherever it is, cut it in half." There should be like a return guarantee on wedding. Like if you sit there and if you have a guy that does that or a woman who does something similar on the wedding day, the priest should stick around and be able to say like 2 Hail Marys and be like, "Yeah, it's done. This is all good.
Yeah,
Go home."
I don't know.
You're getting emotional. Like this is the worst thing that could that's bad. Could you imagine being the bride and your groom is... Think about how much work you put into a wedding.
Right, and how much money you just spent. I would make him pay me back every single cent. Yep. And also just leave.
Yeah. There has to
Please
be like
never talk
there
to me
has to
again.
be like a return policy.
How do you even what I feel bad? Okay, so say you're this woman who just married this man. This is what happens at your wedding, and then like you go and you move on with your life, and then you find another partner. And you're like, "Hey, why didn't your last relationship work out?" And you have to fucking tell this story.
So awful.
Yeah, and then what if this happens to you again?
You have all dudes at your you have robots at your fucking
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
you'd definitely take some precautions the second time around. But that would just be a shitty thing to have to tell. And what if no one, like, you're just forever alone because your first husband was just a shit face?
Yeah. But on the bright side, at least you found out the day of.
True.
Yeah,
This
it
could have
didn't-
happened years and years into your marriage.
I bet you could go up and get an annulment after like 6 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when people, as soon as they get married, they start to gain weight.
Yeah.
I think that's what his thought was. Like, I'm married now. Someone's stuck with me forever. I can do whatever I want.
That is the scumbag way.
Yep.
That is the scumbag way. But reminds me, comedians sometimes when they get around each other talk about their worst gigs.
Yeah.
This was by far the story of the worst gig.
Okay.
I wasn't even involved in this.
Okay.
So 2 comedians talk about they got booked by a dad a week in advance. He paid for the room, he paid for the food, everything like that for a wedding reception. The man skipped town, couldn't get the money back, so he decides, hey, let's just have a party with it, and hires 2 comedians to do a show. And everyone was in their suits and their tuxes, and like the woman was in her white dress, and
Weird.
and all the bridesmaids were in their dresses, and the people and the comedians did a show, and he said, yeah, it was a rough room.
I'm gonna say that me being a person, the
You're a
person that
person,
I
yeah.
am, I think I'd do that. I would do that. You know, if I planned the whole wedding and I was the bride and the guy was just like, peace out, I'd be like, let's still have a party. I bought all these things. Let's do it. And maybe, I don't know about the comedians, you know?
I would have just said, see, I think the comedians was weird. I could understand the party. I could understand. Here's what I would do if I were you. Like, if you were saying, you came up to me and you're like, Mike, my dude left town, whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be like, here's the thing.
Let's ball out.
We're going to ball out. And also, we're going to let all the dudes that you basically have been looking at, we're inviting strategic dudes to this thing to where there's like maybe 10 eligible snakes that you want, and then you bag a snake that night.
Yeah. I'd say that would be nice. I feel like with the comedians, you could do it in a better way. Like maybe just preface it a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, like have the bride come up and be like, hey, listen, guys, like I'm not butthurt or anything. Like it sucked, but like we want to party.
Yeah.
So we want to laugh. And
I want
we're
dirty.
ready.
I want this is essentially a second bachelorette party.
If you can just insult the dude that left me as
Yeah,
much as possible.
That would be would be what you do. You
Yeah.
hire 4 or 5 comedians. You basically
it's like a roast.
and then you broadcast it on Facebook Live. So all of her, because like her friends are going to be his friends.
Yeah.
And you basically go nuts on this guy and have 4 or 5 really good comedians write all of these jokes, basically calling him just like a complete scumbag, loser, dickless, nothing.
Yep. That's it.
I think that's a
Should
business.
not have left Alex Clemens.
That's a business. That's
you
a
could
business.
start that as your comedian business.
Yeah, that's a good business. You just
Although I don't, what's the percentage of people like walking out a little bit before the wedding?
it has to happen more often than you think.
I've never heard of it. Like personally, like I've never known anyone that's happened to them.
I think more people should.
Leave?
I mean, like
I
you
see.
don't.
I always feel like I'd be the person that like walked away.
That's why I would say if anyone's gonna marry Alex, keep
Just
the.
don't do it.
What? No,
in the
A, don't
first
do
place.
it. Yeah, just don't do it. But if it's getting close, I would sit there and be like, if you're like edging with, oh, let's do it at this beautiful ballroom, all this kind of stuff. You know what? ZD at the fire hall. Something that is not. If you got to still pay for it, that you're not like really that butthurt about
It's
it.
already gonna be like that, just like backyard picnic, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you saw this, but Permanis is running this promotion. Have you seen it?
No.
Basically, if anyone gets married or engaged in any one of their Permanis on Valentine's Day next week, any location, they'll pay for you to have your wedding at the original Permanis in the Strip District. What?
Would you do that?
No, but it gave me a really good a really good idea that I want to. I already knew that I'm gonna have a taco bar at my wedding,
Uh-huh.
and I have a cheese fry bar too.
Uh-huh.
Boom, That sounds amazing. Oh.
Okay, what's in the taco bar?
What do you mean? Everything. All the fixins. Every single thing that you could ever possibly want on a taco. Every meat that you could ever have. 16 different shells.
Okay.
At least.
Then the cheese fry. Are you melted cheese? Are you which type of fries? Are you multiple different types of fries?
No, I'm only going to have fresh cut fries.
Okay.
Because I'm not a horrible person.
You're not going to do like a sweet potato fries or
Ugh.
anything? Okay.
I don't like sweet potato fries.
And then just essentially I don't understand why like baked potato bars are a thing, but cheese fries bars are not a
I
thing.
don't know, but
They're the same thing.
yeah. But I mean, I honestly, the permanis thing, I thought about it. I did think about it.
Then
And
you were
I'm-
like, wait, I don't have a man who's going to promote
it sounds
me.
like it could be a cute little get together, you know?
You're
but
right,
I don't
you're
like-
right there in the strip.
I don't like
It's-
permanis that much. I
Yeah.
only like cheese fries.
Yeah.
And I
You
can
need to
get
have
those
just
anyway.
like a cheese. I told you about my restaurant idea about just all appetizers.
Yes.
That would work.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese fries are definitely a top-notch appetizer.
Yeah. I want to have a restaurant that's in a all-inclusive resort. You know how they have like those swim-up bars?
Uh-huh.
I want to have my restaurant be that. So you have like a swim-up bar, but then you also have like a swim-up taco bar, you know? All of those just surrounding the pool.
I don't know, pools with tacos.
Don't worry, Mike. We have people to clean it.
Better have some good cleaning. Anyways, that is news and notes from the world of sports, news, and weirdness. Alex, let's do our final segment, which is Comment Your Ass Off. Let's play the song.
The world. Say hello to the villain that's been you.
I know our friend, Sam, commented a few times. He's commented when the show started.
To ask if this was a permanent time slot, it is not. If you didn't hear us talk about it earlier in the show, it's just so that I can be a good cousin. That's why we changed it to today.
It's family reasons. That's
Yep.
why we do that. By the way, that's a go-to if you ever want to tell your boss that you're not going.
Hell yeah, family reasons, or
Yeah.
if you're a female, womanly problems.
Do you
Can't
really
ask
miss
questions.
work because of that?
Sometimes depends.
Okay. Go ahead.
The fact that he asked this question today, he said, "How long does it take to go through makeup?" Literally, the one day that I don't wear makeup on the show, he asked, "How long does it take to go through makeup?"
So right
Long
now,
fucking time.
for me, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That
And
I'm wearing
this
more
is-
makeup
this
at
is
this
what
point.
happens.
I'm wearing more makeup than Alex at this point.
Yeah. And this is how we look.
There you go. Al natural.
Also, he asked, "How much for a commercial on your show?" Dude, we will sell you a commercial spot. How much money?
What would we be advertising?
I'm pretty sure he would. It
We'd
would
just
be
be
whatever
advertising
he's
just like-
advertising.
We're just going to advertise a guy?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he has a product.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have to know what he's selling. We're not going to be like, we're not going to sell just like, Nazi paraphernalia.
We might sell you a commercial.
We have to
if-
know what it is.
We have to know what it is, and you have to agree that all the money that you pay us for the commercial will go to getting counting machines in strip clubs.
Yes.
You
It's
have
our
to agree.
charitable organization.
That's in the lease.
Yeah.
The lease, the contract.
Yeah, the lease. Whatever. That's a kind of contract.
Things.
Anyways,
Yep.
that's it.
That's the show.
There you go. Alex, again, thank you very much for always being you. Thank you to the River's Edge for being you as well. Keep listening. Again, right after this, it's Grown Dad Business with two of our favorite people in the world, Aaron Kleider and Jason Clark. Keep it to the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, where you get the best local music, you get the best local talk. It's a wonderful time of the year. Again, Alex, thank you very much for you being you. I'll be me. It's the Mike Sasson Show. We'll be back next week, probably on Monday if you're on Facebook Live, but who knows? We might just pick random days to do it now. Who cares? Anyways, Mike, bye.